Hi, I'm Lynn. Welcome back to Cooking with Lynn. I hope you've been following along with me. I've been doing some cooking at home for the Cumberland Library ever since the pandemic started and we've had to go virtual for all of our programming. But I'm still doing it because people are still watching and I'm having fun, so I'm back. Alright, so I'm trying to pretend that we're getting into fall and that we're going to start doing some fall recipes, and the reason I say pretend is because it's 80-something degrees and I'm sweating. But anyway, and my air conditioner doesn't seem to be keeping up. I don't know why. Anyway, I'm making corn chowder today. Chowder is a method that you can kind of adapt to different things. Clam chowder, fish chowder, shrimp chowder, lobster, whatever you want to put in it. This is corn chowder. Obviously it's got corn. It's a good time of year. Corn is everywhere. It's harvesting everywhere, local, so it's good. And yeah, so let's get started. So the first thing I did, and it's something you don't have to do, but I made corn stock. I keep wanting to say corn stalk, but it's corn stock. So what I did was I put 4 cups of chicken broth and a cup of heavy cream and a cup and a half of milk in a pot with the cobs. So I took all the corn off, uncooked, and I'll throw them away now. And so that's your stock to make your chowder. And if you were going to make a stock for like a fish chowder, you would put some fish bones or whatever you have that's left over from fish. I've never made fish stock. You can buy fish stock, obviously. So we're just going to get rid of that. That was 6. You could use 5. Whatever. You don't have to do that at all. So then, you know, so I already took off all the corn. I need about 4 cups of corn. And so that's going to sit, yow, let's not burn ourselves. That's going to sit waiting for what we're going to do next, which is, so if you've never made a chowder, most chowders, if you want them to taste good, they start with bacon, or I used to make it with salt pork, which is, you know, some people don't like the idea of that. It's mostly fat, but so is bacon. So anyway, I'm using bacon. So I chopped up 4 slices of bacon, and I'm just gonna get that rendered down, because the idea is using the fat from the bacon to cook the vegetables in, and you want to use all that good flavor. And if you've ever had good chowder, I guarantee you they started with either bacon or salt pork. You just can't do without it. So, and you know, this is not keto by any stretch. It's a lot of carbs because it's got potatoes and it's got corn, but it's yummy. If you need some protein, you can throw some shrimp in there. You can throw some chicken in there. I've made chicken and corn chowder. That was yummy too. So you can do different things with it. You can lighten it up too. I used heavy cream and whole milk. So, you know, is it a diet dish? No, it's really not. But you know, you don't have to eat a ton of it. You can add a salad with it or whatever. And, you know, sometimes you got to just enjoy and not worry so much. So, I'm just rendering that down. And while that's happening, I'm going to finish cutting up my potato. So I already cut up, I've got a pretty good size onion here. And I've got 3 stalks of celery and 3 carrots, which I diced so that they're all about the same size, bite size more or less. So now I'm just going to cut up the rest of my potatoes. Put as much or as little of this stuff as you want. I've got 5 potatoes here, I believe. I got Yukon Gold. They're nice for this recipe because they're creamy and yummy. You know, you could use red, you know, the red bliss, red skin. I didn't take the skin off. I left the skin on because it's very thin skin. It's not, if you're going to use like a russet, you would definitely want to take the skin off. It's got a thicker skin. not necessarily so great. I don't buy a lot of bacon. I don't cook a lot of bacon, but like I said, you can't make a good chowder without some bacon. It's all about the fat. Just cut them about the same. You kind of want all of your veggies to be about the same size, and I know like some chefs will square off the potatoes so that all of the, all of the pieces are diced in squares, but I'm not going to do that. We're just going to cut them so that they're about the same. That's a lot of potatoes. I may not even throw all those in there. So what else? Like I said, there's not a ton of ingredients to this. There's the milk, the cream, corn, chicken stock. I use low sodium. I like to be able to control the sodium. When you render this bacon, you want to get it like down so it's really crispy. So if you're the kind of person that likes your bacon a little bit fatty, this is not the time to do that. You want it to be really crispy, and because actually at the end, kind of sprinkle the bacon over the top of the stew. And also I'm gonna garnish it with some chives. So just those ingredients. That's kind of it. Not complicated at all. And again, you don't have to make the stock like that. You can just put those things in a pan and just go with it like that. That would be good too. Actually, the times I've made corn chowder, I've only ever done one other time where I made the corn stock. That's hard to say why, I don't know. And it really, you get definitely a more corn sweetness to the broth if you do it that way, but no biggie if you don't. So rendering all that fat down, we're getting there. And again, salt pork, you would do the same thing. You would cut it into little cubes and wait until it's nice and crispy. And, it's kind of yummy. I hate to admit it, but the fat makes it yummy. So we're almost there. What else can I tell you? I've got another recipe coming up, apple cake, and at the end of the month I'll be doing a maple, like a French toast bread pudding. So it's kind of like bread pudding, casserole, whatever you want to call it. So we've got all the fall things covered. We've got maple, we've got corn, we've got apple. We'll do some pumpkin stuff in October, as you would expect. And going to keep cooking as long as you keep watching. We're just about there. Because I wasn't sweaty enough. That's okay. If you don't plan on putting the bacon on top of the chowder at the end, you don't have to worry about getting it super crispy. You just want to render the fat. It's the fat that you want. You want to cook the vegetables in that fat. And I don't know why, but that is the secret to good chowder. And I think we're ready to take it out, really. Pretty much pretty crispy, and we've got tons of fat to work with. If you don't want to work with all that fat, you think it's too much, go ahead and take some out. Turn it off so I can get that out. I'll put it on a plate. If it, seems like too much bacon fat, then, you can take some out. Yeah, see? Came out nice and crispy. Get it all out of there without burning yourself. Giving myself a bacon fat facial here. Come on. Everybody out. A little bit more. Alright. Good enough. Yeah, it came out nice and crispy. Perfect. Alright. Now, next, Get that back up. And we're going to get our veggies in there. Whoa! Yeah, that's hot. Turn that down a little bit. Onion. Alexa, stop! I don't even know what she's turning anymore. Put that there. And toss that around. And all that. It really wasn't, you know, tons and tons. It's probably no more than if you would have just used olive oil. There wasn't much more fat than that. But it really is the secret ingredient. And also bacon is salty, so easy. We'll salt and pepper it later. We'll get the broth in there and get everything in there, and then we'll taste it and we'll salt and pepper it after. So let's get this going. There's a little bit of prep, obviously, chopping everything, but really it's a pretty quick meal. And like I said, you can throw some shrimp in there, throw some fish in there. I mean, it's not a fish stock, but you throw chicken in there, get some protein. If you're one of those people like me that tries to get as much protein as I can. All right, I need to I need to sweat these down for about 7 or 8 minutes, so I'm going to pause. All right, I'm back. This has been cooking down for about 5 or 6 minutes, and that's enough time. The vegetables have softened, and all I have left to do now is get my potatoes in, and my broth and my corn, and just let it simmer for a bit till everything's tender and time to eat. Do I want to put all those in there? I'm going to put just that and get my corn in there. About 4 cups of corn, if I didn't already say that, I think I did. Okay, and toss that around a little bit. And now, if I can do this without injury or disaster. Ow. I'm spilling it everywhere. It's a heavy pan. Why did I pick the heaviest pan? I like to torture myself. Okay. Wow. Well, that already looks quite yummy. And I think we got just the right amount of potatoes in there. You could throw a little more in if you want. So it's going to be thick. It's got heavy cream in it. Some places will use like a cornstarch slurry or flour, make a slurry and thicken it that way. I don't like it that way. I don't like it to be so thick, but if you do, you can certainly take some of the broth out, or reserve a little bit of the broth, not too much. Put maybe a tablespoon or 2 of flour, mix it up and put it back in. You thicken it up a little bit. If you want to lighten it up, don't use heavy cream. You can use half and half. You don't really want to use skim milk. If you're going to make chowder, eat it and enjoy it. So this is going to just cook down for as long as potatoes take to cook, which isn't too long. So we'll come back in a little bit and plate it up. Hello, I'm back. The chowder is still bubbling away here. Actually, it just started bubbling, so I'm not going to serve it, although I will plate it and just show you how I would plate it. But what I did was just now is I took a little tiny bit of the broth and I tasted it, because I always do that when I'm making a stew or a soup or whatever, is just take a little bit of the stock and just taste it for seasoning, and it really needs salt. I really didn't salt very much. I only salted the veggies in the beginning. So I'm going to throw a good, and some pepper, decent amount of pepper, and zhuzh that around in there. Now, when you salt something, like I just did, just to, you know, to re-season something, don't just taste it right away. Let the salt get in there and permeate the stock and do its thing. Give it a couple of minutes. This is a very, very thick stew, chowder. I like a lot of stuff in my chowder. I don't like a ton of broth. I like to eat something. If I'm gonna eat dinner, if I'm gonna eat something, I want to eat something. So I'm just gonna plate it just to show you how I would do it, but the veggies are still very raw. I have some broth, and I'm just going to throw some chives to make it pretty, and crumble that bacon on there. By the way, the stock does taste really good. It's nice and sweet from the corn cobs. It tastes delicious. It just needed some salt. And there is my corn chowder. I hope you try it. Give it a shot. You see how it really wasn't hard at all, or not really all that time consuming either. And that is kind of the basis of chowders, is the bacon and then cooking the veggies in the bacon fat. That's how that goes. So we're bubbling away now. This will be ready when my husband gets home, and that's dinner. So give it a shot. Not hard, delicious, and make it your own. Make it however you want it. And come back again and see me. I've got apple cake coming up. I've got bread pudding, French toast, tongue-tied French toast bread pudding, French toast casserole, whatever you want to call it, coming up at the end of the month. So stick with me, and we've got lots of more stuff coming up. And I appreciate you coming here to watch and check out the library's other stuff too. We got lots and lots of stuff going on all the time. Check it out, cumberlandlibrary.org, and our Facebook page. Check it out and subscribe. And YouTube, subscribe to our page here. All right, I'll see you soon.